Hello, and welcome to this little tutorial on C# syntax. Specifically, I'm going to be showing you some non-arithmetic C# syntax as well as method creation. So we're going to start by seeing this task here that I'm currently on. It's called task 4.1, but we're going to call it meal costs because that's what the task is all about. It will ask the user to input the cost of a meal and how much a drink is, and then it will determine how much that person is spending per week using its various methods here. The thing about this program is that it asks you for the cost of a meal, but what it doesn't exactly say is that it asks for the cost of free drinks. Let me just show you what I mean here. As soon as it loads, there we go. So say the price of a meal is £3 and the price of a drink is 1.25. And let's say I do 2 days a week, because that's how many days I do at university. See, the total cost for 1 day is £6.75. The program is assuming that, or it's been programmed to calculate through someone's logic that they're assuming someone is only going to have one meal a day, say lunch, and then they'll have free drinks during the day. So that's how we get to £6.75, it's £3 plus 1.25, 3 times. But the thing is that that's not very clear to a user just going into it, so we're going to add a little information to tell the user what's going to be happening. So we're going to put it, as I've defined where to put it here, I'm going to show you how to create a method and then how to create some C# syntax inside it. So we'll start by stating that the method is void. Void means that there will be no variable returned to the program itself. And we'll call it introduction. Do some open brackets, but no semicolon. There doesn't need to be a semicolon after the brackets, as you can see in this method here. Don't forget to create the 2 curly brackets, otherwise it won't be, well, there'll be nothing there really. And now I'm going to show you the console.writeLine command. Console.writeLine is effectively, well, it's a way of just sending a message to the user. It doesn't ask for any input. It's just a single line of text, or multiple lines of text depending on how long your writeLine command is. So now we're just going to let the user know what this program is all about. So program to determine cost of meal and drinks for each day. Yeah, I guess that works. In the interest of saving time, there's going to be more writeLine commands, but I'm going to add them in now, just like that. Don't forget it's uppercase C here, and then uppercase W and an uppercase L. Otherwise, one of the features I really like about Visual Studio and writing in C# is when you put a single C there. There we go, there's a red line underneath it, just like in Word, to let you know that something's not correct, either a grammatical issue or spelling, or something's just not recognised. So these are our writeLine commands. I should also point out there's a /n here, meaning that the next line of text will go onto a new line. They need to be inside quotation marks, unlike other, some functions don't require to be in there, but because this is I'm assuming because it's a text and inside text function, it needs to be in quotation marks there. But now we're going to move on to a console.writeLine. I think it's nice to give the user the actual instruction or opportunity to say, do you understand all of that? You know, as is pretty standard in most public programs and things like that. So the difference between a write and a writeLine command is that a console.write will ask for input at the end of its statement. So we'll just say here, do you wish to continue? Pretty generic, but it'll do for now. We'll just say yes or no, and we'll give the user some space here to put their answer in. And in order to actually use that, we're going to create an if statement. And we're going to make it so that if the console reads a no or an n in the above line, the program will just exit. Otherwise it will continue. So to use that, we'll use a new command, which is console.readLine. And because it's going to be a lowercase n as, or at least the user, we're assuming the user is going to put in a lowercase letter due to the lowercase letters here. We're going to have TO2 lower, which just means that this essentially just means that if the console reads the above line to a lowercase n, then the program will exit, but we will put that in a bit later. At the moment, as you can see, the red lines are there, and that's because I haven't put a bracket in. There we go. The red line there will disappear soon, because the thing about an if and selection statements is that they do not require a semicolon at the end, unless it's at the end of a do-while loop, but that's something different. This is an if selection statement. So if the console reads a lowercase n from the above line, we're going to make it exit the program, which we can do by using an environment.exit command. I read somewhere that just putting a 0 in the brackets there is just a little bit, or it helps to run it more smoothly, as someone put it, which seems to work. It's just something to remember. So now, if they select yes, or really anything other than n, the program will continue. This is a very basic and crude if selection statement, but at least it ensures that if the user puts in a lowercase n, the program will quit. It just gives the user a bit of choice. And because we've created that, we want to put it above the function where the user will then input what their costs are. So we're going to put mymeals.introduction. And don't forget don't forget the brackets. Now the thing about this is a class. We won't touch this right now, but when it has a class meal costs, that's the name of the class right there. And every time you're going to pick up a function from the program itself, you want to put mymeals.the function. And so above here, you can call the name of the class mymeals and equals new meal costs. But that's something different at the moment. So now that we have an introduction asking that's going to inform you what to do, we can now make it a bit more personalized by asking the user for their name. Now I could put it down here, but actually we can make it a lot more simpler. And instead of clogging up this function with lots of string variables, we can add it to this one using a comma and calling it something else, like name, because that's what we're asking for. It's currently green because we haven't used it in the program just yet. But the thing about putting it in this particular function is that it's a function inside the class itself, or it's really inside, it's inside the class, so just below the main. And if we leave it there, we can't use it, say, on the output costs, where we might want to say, hello, such and such, your final costing results was this. So I'm going to take it out of here, ensuring that I leave the semicolon there, otherwise the whole place gets covered in red lines. And I'm going to place it up here. Think of this similar to a loop, because if we think of these methods as loops themselves, because the name is outside of it, it can be declared in all of them. That's quite a crude way of explaining it, but it feels a bit simple. It's a simple and effective way of explaining it. So now that name has been declared up here, rather than a local variable, it can now be used in all of the methods. So we will put please enter your name here, and we'll just put name equals console.readLine, so that whatever the person inputs in the line above, it will come up, it will create, or it will apply what they put in up here to the name itself. And now we can put the name down here. And this is another good thing to show you, because we want to implement an actual variable into something that's followed by actual text itself. So if we end that there, take out that n, Put an N there. So now that will start on a new line, and this is the output costs, and we can put plus. If you put plus name, don't forget to end the quotation marks whenever there's something in text. Plus name, plus, and then we'll add the quotes here, put a comma there, just so it's grammatically correct. Your final costing results. And then that will add the person's name in there. So there we go, we've made it a bit more personalised. And hopefully you were able to pick up what I was doing in there, and that I explained it effectively enough. It really does help to add comments in and separate your code up using the 2 forward slashes. It makes everything, turns it green, and everything green becomes a comment. So you can say double, let's just say double means decimal number. So it's just something else to remember. But anyway, now that we've input an introduction and the name, it will hopefully ask us to input our name and then input the price of a meal, and then it will just be a bit more personalized and a bit more personalized. So let's run it now. I'm running it on a Control F5. I think that runs it without debugging it, and that's quite useful for Visual Studio because it will ensure that if your program ends on a console.write line, it won't just exit immediately. So here we are, here's our text explaining it to someone if they were using it for the first time. Gotta make sure there's no spelling mistakes, of course. Unless it's just unless you're just practicing. If it's something official, it's probably quite a good idea to proofread it. So do we want to continue? Yes. Come on. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so input our name. Input the price of a meal. Let's say I'm quite cheap, so spend £2 on a meal. At most £1 on a drink. Number of days attend per week. I attend university 2 days a week. Here we go, there we go, there's our name. So that's taken the name variable. Remember, that's not in quotation marks. So regardless of what you put as your name, it will appear down here. And now it says your final costing results. Total cost for 1 day is £5 because it's assuming that we're going to have 3 drinks during the day. And add on £2 for the meal, £5, and then the total cost for 1 week, which is effectively just the 1 day times 2, 10 of course. And there we go. Thank you for watching.